Hi, this is the fourth video of my JavaScript functions series. And if you have not seen the previous videos, which you will need to understand this video, I have left a link of the series in the description below. This video will teach us about functions as first-class citizen. Well, it may sound very discriminating, but it is an extremely interesting topic. Now, once we master this topic, it will help us to write reusable, modular, and easy to maintain code. We will see these examples and how we can implement these in this video. We start with the definition first. So if we talk about a first-class citizen, I simply took it from Wikipedia. It says that a first-class citizen is an entity which supports all the operations generally available to other entities. Now, these operations typically include being passed as an argument, returned from a function, and assigned to a variable. This means we will use functions just like we use a variable in JavaScript. We assign functions to a variables, we will pass these functions as an argument to another function, and we will receive a function as a return value from another function. Now, this term is not new. Christopher Strachey introduced this term in 1960s. And the definition that we use today says an object is a first-class citizen when it can be assigned to a variable, passed as a parameter to a function, returned as a result of a function, and included in a data structure. We will start by learning how to implement these features in JavaScript language. Then we will implement these features to understand how to make our code reusable, modular, and maintainable. We start with the first operation, function assigned to a variable. This means I can assign a function to a variable and execute the function using either the variable name or the actual function name. Here is the code. I write a function product that accepts two arguments, multiplies the two, and returns the result. Now I declare a variable, multiply two numbers, and initialize it with the function name. While doing this declaration, I have not added the parenthesis. Now I can execute the function by using either of the two. But the question is, what is the benefit I am getting here? Well, the benefit is readability. It is possible to define variables with a descriptive and context appropriate name and assign functions to these variables. For example, I define a variable named rectangle area and assign the function product to it. Now, when I execute the function using the variable name, the context is very clear. I want to calculate the area of a rectangle. And I may not have to check the function for its implementation unless I get an incorrect result. And this is how we can improve a program's readability. I share another example where I'm playing a game of 2 rounds. And the final score is calculated by multiplying the score of each round. Now in this case, I can define a variable, calculate final score, and again assign the function product to it. I know that I already have a function which multiplies two numbers. Now when I call the function using the variable name, the context is very clear again. In both the examples, the function product is assigned different variable names, and this improves the readability. By the way, we can use a function expression as well to define a function and assign it to a variable. Now we will see the implementation of passing a function as a parameter to another function. Now for this I will write 3 functions. The first function, which I call greet, accepts a reference to another function as an argument. The function executes or calls the function it has received. Generally, a function that receives another function as an argument is called an outer function. The second function, named sayHello, has one console.log statement, and we will pass this function as an argument to the function greet or the outer function. The third function, named sayHola, is similar to sayHello function. Generally, a function we pass as an argument is known as an inner function. So say hola and say hello are the two inner functions we have. We call the outer function and pass the two inner functions as an argument. And this is how we implement passing a function as a parameter. The question again is, what benefit do I get from it? And before I delve into this, let's understand two new terms. The first one is callback. So you must have heard this word quite a number of times, and we generally use this word as a parameter name whenever we pass a function as an argument to another function. The term callback comes from the concept that a function will be called back or invoked after completing some work. Second is the higher order function, a function that accepts another function as an argument and or it returns a function as an output. In our code, the function greet is a high order function. I will take one more example to explain the benefits when we pass a function as a parameter. I write a function filter numbers. Now this function accepts two parameters, an array of numbers and a filter criteria. Now the function returns an array of filtered numbers based on the filter criteria. So I start by declaring an array filtered numbers which this function will return at the end. The for loop iterates through each number of an array and passes these numbers to the filter logic function. So if the filter logic function returns true, we add the number to the array. And finally, we return the filtered array. Now I write a simple filter logic for identifying an even number. So I divide this number by 2 using the modulo operator, which returns the remainder, and I compare this result against 0, which is valid for even numbers, and return a boolean value. So on the similar lines, I write another function odd that checks if a given number is odd or not. In this case, the comparison is with not equal to 0 and again returns a boolean value. Finally, I get all the even numbers from an array when I call the function filter numbers with the function even as a parameter, and the odd numbers array when I call the function filter numbers with the function odd as a parameter. When we write functions this way, it encourages us to write small functions, means a function doing only one thing, and independent functions where we don't have any dependency on other functions or data. So the first benefit of passing a function as a parameter to another function is the reusability. I can reuse the function filter logic to give different results based on the function I passed as a parameter. And the second one is modularity. Now imagine if passing a function is not possible, then I would have written the logic of identifying both the odd and the even numbers within the filter numbers function. Now since we can do this segregation, and that means I can pass the functions to another function, I have written multiple smaller independent functions. Now each function is doing one job. Now combining these functionalities makes generating two separate outputs of odd and even numbers possible. And once we have a modular code, it improves readability where each function is doing one thing independently. It helps with maintainability. When we divide the functionality into smaller pieces, it becomes easier to maintain and debug. It also eases the testing because once we have a small independent piece of code, we can test these functions independently. So for example, if I change the code of a function even to check for negative numbers as well, I will have to test only one function and not the whole functionality. Last, easy to update. So tomorrow if I want to add another functionality of identifying prime numbers, I just have to write a new function that accepts a number as a parameter and checks whether it's a prime or not. Once this functionality is done, I can pass this to the filter numbers function and segregate prime numbers from the given set of arrays. By the way, the code for filtering a prime number is there on the GitHub and the link is shared in the description below. And now it's time for the quiz. The remaining two concepts of returning a function from a function and including function references in a data structures will be covered in the next video. Thank you for watching this video. If this video has helped you, please like it. If you think this can help any of your friends, do share it. And finally, do subscribe so that you don't miss any other videos in future. Thank you very much. Keep learning.